Welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Seeley, president of Seeley Test Preppers and LEAP, helping students to succeed in all kinds of tests from 8th grade to grad school throughout Ohio.
And I'm Mike Bergen, president of Chariot Learning, helping students with the test school and life based out of Rochester, New York.
Between the three of us today, we have over 78 years of experience at the highest levels of the test preparation and supplemental education industries.
We both love to talk and learn about the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. So let's get down to tests and the rest. The fascinating test prep professional we want to profile today is Amy Brooks. We're so happy to be speaking with you today, Amy. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So, Amy, can you tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm in Texas, and I'm based in an area between Dallas and Fort Worth. And I run Amy Brooks Tutoring, which is a tutoring and educational consulting practice where we focus on academic tutoring as well as test prep.
So how did you get your start in test prep and what did you do before prep?
So my background is in it's in public school teaching. So I was a classroom teacher and moved from there into corporate training. And I did corporate training in the Houston area and the Dallas area for about 15 years. And then I began homeschooling our children. And in doing so, I spent about 15 years not just teaching our own children, but also leading and tutoring other groups of children in the area in various subject matters, and really grew to love that. And then as our youngest child was about to leave for college, I began to explore what that might look like for me on the other side. And I realized I really have something beautiful in my hands. I love to teach, and I could continue to do that. And I developed it into a business that's continued to flourish. And I'm just so grateful.
That's fantastic. You know, we don't speak to a lot of educators who had an extensive background in corporate training,
I was thinking
which
the same thing.
strikes me as great preparation for a lot of the people skills aspects of tutoring. What was your experience of corporate training?
So, one of the gifts that that particular job gave to me was the ability to acquire the study skills necessary to master software products quickly
Hmm.
in order to turn around and deliver it with expertise to a client. And so, in order for me to be able to go before a client, I had to be Microsoft certified, for example. And this is back in the day, if you can think back this far, when Windows 95 even came into
That's a
existence, right?
throwback.
Yeah, I
And
think we've
so,
seen every version of Windows. So
yes, I think when I
that's
started, it was at 3.1. And yeah, so the beautiful part about that job was that it taught me that the capacity for my own mind was much greater than I probably had ever given myself credit for. And it's really that's been something that I've been able to carry into a test prep environment as well as an academic tutoring environment. Things that I would not say I had a natural propensity for, I was able to acquire with the right study skills. And so, and just the effectiveness of clear communication to a client makes the difference in them being productive in their daily work or not. And so helping people to do that has been a gift.
It's funny when you say that because that really landed with me, this idea of a lot of us because having to learn it ourselves or teach it to ourselves. And in doing so, that enables us to then transfer that to students who don't know. So it's like that I find for me, that means I can reveal my vulnerability of like, this was hard for me. And then how
Mhm.
do I make this simpler for someone who I'm trying to teach it to? So I love you pointing that out.
So, Amy, you said I get the impression you're self-taught as far as test prep goes. How did you attain your proficiency at first, and what's your ongoing development been like?
Yes. So the initial on-ramp to test prep would have been exactly that, self-taught. I just began to explore it in the same way that I had for, over a decade, had been placing myself as a student, to learn all of those software products. And so Now, naturally, we have four children, and so it was in my best interest to learn at the time they needed it, the skills necessary for test prep.
They let
But
they let you help them prepare?
no,
Okay.
but it did start the beginning of the journey for me because I realized, okay, that there is a method to this, and there is a way to do this well. It's not just the information, it's also the delivery of the information so that there's a system to it. And so, what I have continued to do after that initial on ramp to test prep, being self taught, is I have really just in humility sought a lot of mentorship. I have attended tutor trainings whenever it's been possible, just to acquire the most updated information so that I can show students how to accomplish their goals with the greatest amount of efficiency. I know that I really value that, and so it's really helped me to be resourceful in seeking that out.
Humility is such a valuable trait in an educator.
I agree because, you know, I'm sure you all are the same way, but we value just being a lifelong learner. And there's really not a way to continue to do that without humility.
And certainly we found in test prep, we have to be lifelong learners as the tests change and evolve,
Right.
right?
Yes,
Like
there's
they
that.
force it out of us.
That's
Um,
true.
so how has your practice evolved then over the years?
Well, I think at the beginning, when I officially began my business as a with my most recent experience when I began being a homeschool parent in the area, I really envisioned that maybe some people in our area who had done the same and maybe who knew me would want to utilize my services for academic tutoring. The irony is that almost none of the students that I have in our practice are homeschooled, although some of them are, but the majority of them are not. The majority are private or public school students. And I also had never envisioned that it would grow to the point that I would actually need to hire other tutors. And it's been amazing just to see that the demand has been so great, that I've had to hire three more academic tutors so that I can continue to develop the test prep side of my business because I could see that as this was evolving, I was going to have to allow those students to start a relationship in tutoring with another tutor, or I wasn't having the luck of taking my current students and saying, now go to a different tutor, right? Because you really do develop a special relationship with your students, even if it's just working through physics problems. So this has been really great just to see that the demand has been there, and that it looks very different than what I envisioned when I began.
It's interesting because if you had asked me at the start, I would have said, don't count on homeschoolers coming to you for test prep or even for a lot of
Yeah.
subject tutoring because most effective homeschoolers are really self-driven learners. A lot of them, they have an independent streak. It's not to say that we don't work with homeschools, and I know that
Mhm.
some of our colleagues specialize in that area, but for the most part, like, you know, maybe we get a homeschooler once a year, and it's after they've done a lot of prep on their own. More often than not, those they're autodidacts. They really
Yeah.
they've learned what you've learned, and what we all have to learn is how to learn yourself.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I would agree with that.
What are some of your favorite aspects of working in test prep?
I think that one of my favorite aspects is just to watch a student's confidence grow by following a system that you and I would know would work because of our life experience and the just the longevity of test prep practice. You understand what it really takes for a student to grow, but to watch a student buy into that, and trust that process and watch their confidence grow, it really is, it's very inspiring to me. And I think many times students, because of the pressures that they have placed upon themselves, or maybe even some external pressure from family or other people in their educational environment, they're just really overwhelmed and unsure about their abilities. Oftentimes, I notice that they count themselves out. Maybe they'll say, "Well, I'm good at grammar, but I'm not good at math." It's amazing to be able to unlock that ability for a student and help them work at whatever 100% is of their capacity.
That's fantastic. Now, let's look at the other side. What are some aspects of working in test prep you find frustrating or challenging?
By the same token, I think that convincing a teenager that consistent, repetitive practice is what's key. That that is actually what unlocks I guess, the long game, really coming to completion. Convincing them of that can be difficult because their lives are busy and they are learning how, just as people, they're learning time management and growing in their capacity for that. And so just having the patience to continue to go back to, hey, we need to just work consistently
Don't you
in
find
order
it
to win.
funny that some of those students that we have a hard time convincing of the value of consistent, deliberate practice are the ones who are prioritizing that exact activity in the context of a sport or an art or a craft?
Yes, yes. Now, I will say that that does draw the best analogy. Once
Of
you
course.
know what a student is interested in or gives their time
Yeah.
to, you can really you can really convince them, at least appeal to the fact that they are dedicating their time somewhere. But yeah, just helping them develop those study habits and time management skills can be a frustration.
But it's such a valuable life skill, right? When we
I
teach
know.
students that you have to apply that to everything, and then you unlock the real gains, and it's something they carry with them after they work with us.
Yes. Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so Amy, what other insights would you like to share with any current or future test prep professionals?
We talked about humility earlier, so I'll return to that because I feel like in order for a person to continue to grow and develop as a test prep professional, I feel that mentorship is very valuable. Sharpening our focus by listening to those who have more years under their belt than we do, then that's really to your benefit. It's helped me to be a stronger test prep professional, to be a part of NTPA and to develop professional relationships, just to even focus on the business side of my practice, not even about techniques for test prep, but just about even hiring and structuring my business. It's absolutely been the best decision in helping me grow.
We love that. So, most important question, Amy. What is something most of your colleagues would be surprised to learn about you?
I was thinking about this and I decided that really there's an irony I could share. My parents were both educators themselves. My mother was a reading specialist. My retired after 30 plus years of teaching. My father was a football coach and teacher, became an administrator, and they just had such a positive impact on the students that they served and in their community. But the one thing that they said when I left for college is, you can do whatever you want, but we do not want you to go into teaching
That's
because you
funny.
won't because you won't like it. I
They
think,
thought you wouldn't like it or they
yeah,
didn't like it.
no, well, let's be honest. After 30 plus years, perhaps that was coming from a voice of a burned out
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
individual.
Yeah.
But I think that they just did not perceive that I would enjoy it. And I find it very ironic that now that I am 30 plus years into my
Uh-huh.
own
Yeah.
experience with
Yeah.
education, I can say I'm glad I didn't listen.
Well, it's
So
interesting
funny.
when you
You
said you started with corporate training.
Mhm.
I thought that was interesting because I do connect education with training. It's just a different sort of area of education.
Right.
So your pathway back to quote unquote traditional education is from the training, right?
Yes, yes. And I was a public school teacher prior to that. So they thought, oh, she's out of education now. She's no longer in the public school realm. She won't teach anymore. But no, I'm still here.
You're still here. And
I'm
it
still
seems to
here.
me that your career in education is unbroken from beginning to today.
True.
So you've got the last laugh.
That's a good point.
Amy, we could talk about you all day. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If listeners would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
At my website, amybrooks.tutoring.com.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Be sure to join us for another fascinating topic and guest on the next Test and the Rest.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as we did? Find expanded links and more for this and all of our episodes at our show page at testsandtherest.com. While you're there, be sure to explore everything the larger TestBright site has to offer, including real, expert, unbiased answers to the toughest admissions testing questions. Of course, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe to Test and the Rest on your favorite podcast platform. If there's a topic or guest you'd like us to feature, just let us know and spread the word.